Sweet. Okay, I think I am now live. And I'm sitting down this time instead of standing up. And we have the top-down camera, which you might be able to see as usual. But yeah, what we're going to do today... I'm going to wait for some people to show up. I also don't know if the Discord will show me doing some live stream. I have no idea. I don't think it works that way. It's not that smart. So anyway, what we're gonna do today, and you should be able to see this, I have to do the magic of OBS, is you should be able to see, if I do the transition button, we're gonna go over this guy. So this is the Kingrinder P0. So that's what we're gonna do today. I think my audio is good. I'm using the microphone from the top-down camera, so not the normal front-facing camera. And we'll kind of see how that goes. But pretty much what I just wanted to do is go over that. I haven't really brewed that much coffee today, so it'll be I'm waking up. And I have a ton of stuff on the table as usual. We have some fantastic coffees today as well. I brewed these yesterday. I'm gonna set this to the side. I brewed this Alita Natural Katsuai from Verve yesterday, and I was pretty impressed by it. And also this Prodigal Los Perlitas. Both these were pretty great coffees. So I have kind of a baseline for what I think these coffees should taste like, and we can kind of explore the Kingrinder. Might brew some of that before we actually open this up, but you know, it's just a chill stream. It's a Sunday. So here we go. But my kind of plan for today was to just crack this grinder open, and then basically, I guess I should season it. Although I think seasoning these grinders is going to be a little painful because this is a hand grinder, but I'm going to switch to the top-down camera. I got all these crafts here because I was brewing coffee earlier, and then we'll see. Prodigal has definitely redeemed themselves. What's up, guys? Okay, so we're going to do the top-down camera. Oh, I can actually get myself in here as well. Let me add this other camera in here real quick so you guys can see me. And we can get the other angle. So I'll have the front facing and there. All right. So we got the production quality. Boom. Okay. So this is the Kingrinder 0. It was $22. Frankly speaking, I just bought it for fun. This is probably going to become my pepper grinder. So that's the plan. It's probably going to become a amazing pepper grinder. I know people bought the K0 for pepper grinder. I also know people bought some of the Easy Presso stuff for pepper grinder purposes. But it is insanely light. So I guess we'll set it on the scale so you can see how heavy it is. The entire box is whopping 401 grams. So that's how light this is. I believe the reason why it's called P0 is because it's plastic. Yeah, 22 bucks. Kingrinder. I've never used a Kingrinder, surprisingly. So I've heard a lot of great things about K4, K6. I've used a variety of other hand grinders, but I just really kind of never got into the Kingrinder stuff because yeah, I just didn't really feel like I needed it because I was using Easy Presso. So yeah, let's open it up. I don't even need any scissors. Watch this be amazing. Oh wow, I actually think my stream bot is working. So I have no idea if that's working. Okay, so here we go. We got the box. I have to keep looking at my computer because that's the only monitor that I have. Maybe I'll get another monitor later so I can look at the stream without looking off to the side all the time. Box is decent. I like that they put the burrs here. So I think the P0 series is supposed to be the, well, we have the power of Google. I think it's supposed to be the 5 spoke, or it's not the traditional heptagonal style. Okay, yeah, so it's only, I think it has 5 burr design. It's made of Sus 420, so that is the superior metal. But anyway, I'm kind of going in this really blind. I have 0 expectations, and I think that's the right way to do it. Maybe this will become my next travel grinder. Okay, here we go. That's actually really nice. This is a lot nicer than I expected. So I have spent $20 on other grinders, or I guess this is $22. But the biggest difference with this and all the other hand grinders is this actually has metal burrs. So this is plastic. I don't know if you guys can do this. So it does feel cheap, but it's also really cheap. And I don't care if the body feels cheap if the burrs are properly aligned and if they're metal. So I got like those plastic hand grinders, right? And those ones are also 20-something bucks, and those suck. Yo, what's up, Dennis? The legend. The catch cup is plastic, so this is probably good if it doesn't retain a lot of... I don't know what the static situation is going to be like on this, but there we go. Spins pretty nicely. I guess I'll season this. This might be complete hell to season, but we'll go from there. And then here are the accessories. For some reason, we have 2. We have 2 of these packets. This silica packets. One was in the catch cup, and one is out here. We have a Kingrinder band. This is so you can grip the grinder better. So that's there. No instructions. And then you have this, your handle. That doesn't feel the greatest in the world. And then this is also only square. Knurled like that. Okay. So actually now that it's on here, it feels pretty decent. And then this, you got your cheap wood. You can put the grinder a bit coarse and spin by hand, look inside from above at the burr grab while rotating into a light. Oh yeah, we can totally do that. Let me actually try that. So here, that doesn't feel, you can clearly feel like the body is not the nicest in the world. It feels pretty, it's 22 bucks, right? What do we expect? But I think once you have the grind settings set up, it's probably completely fine in terms of performance, right? It's like I don't care if these all suck if the grind performance is good. And then let me see if I can show this in on the stream here. There's actually do you want to link your hand grinder post, Dennis? That would be really helpful. We can send it to the chat, but let me see if I can do this. Might be hard to see on the camera here. those are your, so inner and outer. Let me go actually a little coarser. This burr is actually going to come off. See? So that's how you disassemble it. Let's see if we can do this. Don't know if the camera can easily see that. But the burrs look nice. I mean, they are... they're... Let's see, I don't think this top camera is that smart at focusing, but you can see there's 5 spokes in there. And now, whoa, this is so hazy. This is the black mist stuff here. Then now, I guess let's put this back together and run some coffee through it. So, I'm not the biggest fan of internal or like in catch cup grind size adjustments. That is a little frustrating to me. And this, wow, this metal's very thin. It feels very thin. It's like if I'm nitpicking there, but the burrs look good, so that I think that's what matters. What's making, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but there's basically this kind of grinding noise that's a little, it's like metal flexing, it feels like. And that's what this is. Okay. Oh yeah, and then you also get this brush. There we go. So that's cool. I mean, you actually get a lot of stuff. The fact that you even get accessories like this little band and a brush for 22 bucks is pretty good. I think this is probably the lowest barrier to entry for anything, and we might as well try to brew and see what happens. Maybe lower my light a little. There we go. Cool. So let me see. Yeah, there might be an O-ring that needs to get replaced, but I guess let's brew some coffee. So I am going to brew a V60 of something. And my filter is very... Maybe I need to adjust my exposure. It's super hazy. This is very cinematic, right? Yeah, it doesn't sound the greatest when you're changing the grind size, but I would assume once you have a grind size set up, you would probably keep it somewhat similar. And if this is like any other, you know, I have another grinder to compare this against. If this is like something like this, the C3 Pro, right? So this is what happens when you spend maybe $20 more in the world of hand grinders. You now have a full metal body, and the grind size adjustment rings and all of that feel a little more, yeah, they feel a little nicer. Like this feels nicer, right? But this is also twice the price. But I would say my barrier to how good things are, like I think this is the bare minimum in terms of performance if people want to get into some of the nicer coffees. So given the fact that this is, you know, these burrs look decent, we probably will have an okay time. I'm just gonna brew something immediately and not even, you know, I don't think you should need to season at this very moment. But yeah, let's brew this prodigal. Let's brew this coffee. I quite liked this one. But I tasted it yesterday on the 01, which you guys can't see because my overlay is blocking it. But I brewed it on 01, and I was very impressed by this coffee. It's super bright, very acidity forward, and much better than obviously the first Prodigal drop. Now Prodigal is really nice, or I'm kind of a big fan. But I can only consume so much coffee, so I still just buy from Say. I'm gonna do 20 grams, and you know, unseasoned. Let's just grind and see how bad or good things are. So make sure to RDT. P0 has a lot of static. Okay, that would be my guess as well. So yeah, sure, we will RDT. Already, I'm kind of seeing the problem with this. It's like, yeah, that doesn't feel the greatest in the world. But for $22, that's fine. Need to find an RDT bottle. Oh, actually, I will go get an RDT bottle. I'll be back. Fixing some of these camera settings. This is so weird. This lens is like giving this hazy effect. I don't even have this filter on. Anyway, whatever. Okay, got an RDT bottle, 20.2 grams. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't know why the front camera is so hazy right now. I did switch to a different lens, but I don't know. I can just swap that to a different lens later on, but... Alright, here we go. 20-something grams. Unseasoned. Beans flying everywhere. That hopper looks pretty full. Put it in here. Alright, let's see. I don't know what grind size I'm at, by the way. I completely forgot to mention that. But go. Grinding's pretty easy. I might have just wasted 20 grams by doing this, but let's see. This looked like a decent filter grind size, but I could just be completely off. So this is interesting. The inside. There are definitely some flex to the body here, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Also, these beans are really light, so that's another big plus for this grinder. Is if you can actually grind these pretty light roast coffees without a lot of pain, it's not bad. I'm not a big fan of this specific handle so far, but it at least doesn't dig into my hand like the Time More handle does. This Time More handle just straight up digs into my hand, which is not fun. So here we go. I think maybe after a little bit more usage of breaking things in, it should be a little easier. But let's open the top, see if there's anything that popped up there. Okay, maybe just a little bit of chaff. And then in here, since I already teed, I hope this is not a complete mess. All right. This actually looks like a decent filter grind size. Maybe could have ground a little finer for this coffee. But also we're unseasoned. Cleanliness, not bad. I also did not count any clicks or anything. I just went for it. So, yeah, we're off to a good start. Sometimes, you'll see those shards stuck in the inside in there. But this so far seems decent. It's super funny how thin some of this plastic is. but that doesn't really matter because it seems like the actual metal parts where the burrs are held are all it doesn't seem to wobble as much. I do have some AliExpress grinders that you can literally see the shaft wobble every single time you grind, and that's a little rough. But anyway, cool. Let's see what happens. Catch it. Yeah, I mean, it's 20. The fact that you even get metal burrs. Okay, now my camera's not as hazy. Yeah, but the fact that you even get metal burrs for $20 it's pretty amazing. I think that's something that already gets you really far in terms of coffee performance world. I mean, I got they got the Java press. I don't know where the hell where's my Java press? So. Yeah, well, I have the Java press, and that thing is it's terrible, and that is a $20 something grinder, and it doesn't even have metal burrs. I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is. Look at this. You could have this for the same price. You could have this piece of trash grinder. You get the plastic burrs. I mean, on Amazon, these are the same price. Why would you buy this? Why would you buy this when you can get metal burrs? That's my first reaction. I mean, it doesn't even matter if it's just like these ceramic burrs are rough, or like the plastic burrs are literally give you roughness on your tongue when you taste things. Okay, I'm gonna go dump this out real quick. Also, I am literally waking up. I had 12 grams earlier today, so I am pretty tired. I think the Java press is a really good way to learn about how bad coffee grinders can be. I actually think some of the blade grinders are straight up better. Okay, 20, I put 20.2, I got 20.2. Retention? Not bad. Definitely need an RDT. It's not the worst in the world where I've seen things get crazily stuck in the bottom corners and on the sides there. And then, let me see if I can brew this here. Grinds look decent. I didn't really pour it in the straightest, so it's a little bit off the side. And because I keep using these big V60s, you guys can never actually see what's happening. So we're gonna try this again. There we go. And this is some Prodigal. I gotta have like markers and stuff on where to put things on the table for you guys to see. But I'm just gonna brew at 98 Celsius. I guess I can do a little bit of that leaf agitation. See what that gets me. I also need to brew with one hand when I'm sitting here. The grind size looks fine for what I'm trying to do. And originally I was gonna push the extraction, but, well, let's see. Let's see how this goes. I don't think these smaller hand grinders, especially unseasoned, do the greatest job if you try to push them. But basically, I just want to see, does this result in a good cup? obviously I'm using really great coffee, so it's kind of cheating, but you know, if somebody can just spend $22 or $20, I feel like I've seen this go on sale for a little less than that, right? It's like if they can just spend 20 something bucks and they can brew some of the harder to brew coffees like this and make it taste, in my opinion, acceptable, then that's already such a great start. I mean, yeah, things have gotten a lot better for entry-level stuff nowadays. I guess I'll do this. This actually might be a little fine. It also could just be the fact that it's unseasoned. So, but this is literally an unseasoned brew. I'm also using the newer Hario tab filters. I ran out of Cafec T90s. I didn't go pick them up from Kimoy yet, so we're at the mercy of our regular Hario tab filters that I got from the Pepe switch. So these are the filters I'm using, in case anyone is wondering. So it's this one here. So it's got the round tab instead of the flat tab. It also would be interesting to taste this and see the kind of things that I usually do with these hand grinders nowadays, at least for testing purposes. And I don't really do that much testing because I kind of just brew and see, hey, does this taste good? Is basically I see what the grinder tastes like if you grind way too fine. Because I want to basically figure out what are the upper and lower limits of a lot of these grinders in terms of what you can do. Because I do think even within that region, all of whatever flavor profile a grinder is supposed to give you, it will present that in some sort of way. It just will either be, you know, really weak or really, really strong. What I like to do with these hand grinders and just a lot of, just in general, is figure out how far can I push the grinder in terms of ratio or grind size on something like filter. This is actually drained down pretty good. So 310. Here's, see, very cool. Definitely probably grinding on the finer side if you see a lot of the fines there. But, you know, I want to just basically see, it's like, hey, how does this perform if you're pushing the grinder really, really hard in terms of ratio? A lot of the smaller hand grinders like this, I feel like will max out at around 1:17. The exception is something like ZP6, where I think you can go up to like 1:20s and those taste fine in terms of ratio. So it's like, what does this taste like if you push the ratio out like crazy? Where do things start falling apart? And then also, how fine can you actually grind without any sort of weird roughness or astringency and any of those weird tasting things? But this is just basically 1:16. The brew time, the contact time also maybe a little on the longer side, but that could be due to the filters, it could be due to it literally being unseasoned. But let's taste it and see if there's any weird roughness or anything. I already kind of picture in my mind what I think this will taste like. So yeah, we'll go from there. There's our prodigal. Prodigal. First brew on a P0. I also hate the naming of most of these Chinese grinder companies, or just grinder companies in general. P0, K0, there's Easy Presso Q2, QS, Q2S Air, Q2, I don't know anymore. I'm just letting this cool down. Aroma smell nice, but yeah, I can't keep up anymore. People are like, oh, I got the new King grinder. I'm like, that doesn't explain anything to me. And we're using these fancy new Ecosa Brewhouse cups. Whoa. Spin things. Yeah, so I actually don't like Abaca as much as T90. I think T90 is a little stronger at maintaining faster flow rate, and versus Abaca Plus. Abaca Plus, I think, if you agitate too hard, once you start like, I think it's loading up the fines and all of that, it becomes a little too, you can end up stalling towards the end of your brew if you are aggressively pouring. At least how I brew, which with a lot of these light roasts, I like to do high agitation. And T90s do a little bit better job when you're kind of on your last few pours in maintaining steady flow rate. And these Hario tab filters with the circular tab seem to do a decent job as well. Okay. This is still way too hot to taste. But this is my second cup of the day, or I guess like some amount of coffee that I'm having today. So we'll kind of see how this changes, if it's okay, or, I'm also not fully awake to be upfront. All right, let's taste this now. Okay, so this tastes unseasoned, so a lot of different things are happening, but it's really sweet. So the overall thing that I'm tasting is this is kind of like that smaller hand grinder conical presentation. I think I need to run. We might season, I guess, the grinder, but this coffee is really strong. I felt like this coffee was pretty strong. So what, here I can put this here. Whoa. Also, this bag is gonna close that. There we go. So I felt like this coffee was pretty strong. Super like raspberry forward coffee, incredibly bright acidity that would kind of just like exist in the cup and then linger out like that. On this, what I'm tasting is there is that really bright upfront acidity, but it's very veiled. So it's kind of veiled in what you could classify as something like chocolate, or it's like this raspberry red fruit note, but it's veiled in something. Partially why it's that way is I think we were grinding a little too fine. It's the burrs, and also it's unseasoned. But the rest of it is really sweet. There really isn't this acidity structure that seems to kind of just like exist through the cup in comparison to something like this O1 or many of these other grinders. But this is a very enjoyable cup to taste right now, unseasoned. So I have very, very high hopes as we continue brewing through the rest of this stream. Yeah, I mean, I am, for $22 that you're getting this quality, not bad for a first brew. So we're off to a good start, lads. Oh yeah, Dennis. Dude, the entire grinder was 400 grams, like in the bag. So this is how much it weighs. I actually think this would be a really good travel grinder. This is like, your Q2 flavor profile, but it's even lighter because it's plastic. Okay, so this is how much the handle weighs. 75 grams, let's call it. Body of the grinder, 214. Catch cup, 30. So, and then if you were curious about the little rubber band, 9 grams. So let me put it all together real quick, and then let's go for it again. Or I'll just do it like this. That is 320 grams. So this is a really strong grinder for travel. It unfortunately does not fit into your AeroPress top part. I think the Q2 will fit in there. But I don't really like using AeroPress for travel as much nowadays. I think the Pulsar is the move. Yeah, so Kinu, dude, the Kinu's great. Okay, so this is C3 Pro. I just checked if it would fit in the AeroPress. So this is C3 Pro. 583 grams. And I have other hand grinders here, but I'm too lazy to grab them. The other one I was going to get was the B plus Apollo. That one is significantly heavier than these two. So, yeah, this is a very, very good start in terms of at least getting us 80% of the way there. But also we're unseasoned. So, yeah. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep brewing some coffee. I'm just gonna drink more of this because I actually am quite enjoying this Prodigal. Even with even it being unseasoned and very first brew, I think this is just a good example of if you have fantastic coffee, a lot of problems are solved. Yeah, so this coffee was incredibly bright when it cooled down. This is still even now that it's really, really cooled down. A lot of that really nice raspberry acidity or red fruit acidity is veiled in what I would say it's like kind of just, it's not the ultra high acid forward that you would get out of I would say other grinders, but it is enjoyable, and I think this flavor profile is still massively approachable to a variety of people. So yeah, we ran 20 grams through it. I guess I could just continue seasoning. I could just use the rest of the stream and season things for your entertainment. Jesus, the momentum is 1,122. Yeah. I mean, I have other hand grinders here, like the Orphan Espresso Pharos. I've heard that's a pretty good hand grinder. All right. But I'm going to continue sipping on this. It doesn't taste bad. The Healer 106 by itself is a better Pharos. Like, no questions asked. I mean, if you can put you can put a Shuricone in there. It's going to be significantly better than that. But, I mean, just the fact that it is in a more modern body is already a really strong start. I guess we'll brew this Alita Katwai Natural. Brewing natties. This was a really good example of, I'm just going to brew 20 grams again. This was a good example of at least a roaster keeping up with the times. So I was pretty happy with this. It's a much cleaner presentation than most of the other Verve coffees. This one should be roasted on a Loring. I guess I'll season after this for entertainment purposes. But first brew, let me keep tasting this. Honestly, this first brew is doing pretty good for how expensive this grinder is. I mean, literally both of these bags of coffee that I'm brewing right here cost more than this entire grinder. But that's probably why the coffee's tasting so good. For most people, I think they'd be pretty happy with what this Prodigal brew is tasting like. I think if you've never tasted anything better and this was your first reference point, I think you would be pretty happy. I think the only reason why you'd chase something else is like if you've understood what was out there. Having tasted other, what else is out there, I see where this is, not as strong. But if I didn't have all of those different data points, I'd be pretty happy. So this is also a nitpick, but this into here, aligning it is not as easy as I thought it would be. Gotta kind of like shimmy it in there. And same grind size. Actually, let's make this slightly coarser. It also could be a little weird because I'll go 2 clicks coarser. Oh wait, I can't change the I can't change the grind size when beans are in here. Right. But this should flow faster. The grinding should get easier as we season too. I think you can clearly tell this coffee is not as light as the Prodigal. Given I'm like fully out here and I can just easily push the grinder or push the handle. I also would usually grind kind of closer to my body, but we gotta do this so you guys can see on the camera. I also think I gotta pick up, I need to go pick up one of those new Hario. Hario has like a hand drill thingy, attachment, or it's like a stick that you can stick onto these grinders now and turn everything into it's like a tiny power drill. Which is a interesting new invention. I guess Hario caught up with the times. But grinding is pretty easy, it's pretty fast. I was planning on using this for filter. I honestly do not even know if this grinder can do espresso, nor does this seem like the best choice for espresso anyway, given that these clicks are pretty big. They seem to be pretty big. I again blind bought this. It was okay, 30 clicks. Yeah, that's it's a little miserable in terms of resolution, in terms of what you can go for. So I think doing espresso on this would probably be pretty miserable, because also you have, these burrs are not the type of burrs you want to be pulling fast shots on, in my opinion. But here we go. So opening it up, again, looks good. RDT, pretty clean. Top part of the grinder, also pretty clean. And then in here, pretty clean as well. So yeah, this is I mean, sometimes you see, you know, coffee really caked up in there if you don't RDT, or even if you RDT on some grinders, it can get really caked up. So this is a pretty, you know, again, a really good start for a second brew. I'm gonna start to really get caffeinated as I get through the rest of the stream. Okay. This coffee, the Prodigal, as that really cooled down, yes, that acidity was as, I think the acidity was like pushed up as much as the coffee could go once it cooled down, but it's still being kind of nerfed by the grinder. But the overall finish of this, and I think there's a lot of really nice texture in this. I'm gonna say it's like a bit that bigger body that you experience out of some of these smaller hand grinders. It's a little rough, but I think that's because it's unseasoned. But it's overall very sweet. So I think this is very similar to a lot of these other smaller conicals. I don't think it has that higher, like slightly higher clarity that you'd find out of a heptagonal. But I also don't really think that many people are gonna AB. I think this is like that classic, I classify this as like the Asian Chinese style burr, where it's very sweetness forward. There's kind of, you know, like a delay between before you get acidity. Even though we used a coffee that, in my opinion, was super upfront acidity, it's kind of getting nerfed, or it's kind of getting adjusted in terms of acidity. That acidity is getting really tamed, for better or worse, right? Because I don't know if that's what people want to be tasting all the time. Yeah, 33 micron. Yeah. So you can. Also, the challenge with this grinder is if it's taking this much time to filter, grinding espresso is probably very miserable. Okay, so even doing this, I did let the bean sit a little or the ground sit a little. It's not that dirty. Let's see how good the brush is as well. This brush seems to be pretty nice, or it's like long, so you can actually get in there. Okay, now I'm seeing all these grounds, but I mean, this feels like it's a 3D printed item. It's so cheap, you know, so lightweight. You probably could put a metal catch cup on this. I don't know why you would, but it's fine. Okay, I think I need to go a little coarser. Our following brews. Okay, and I think I have... Actually, let me get some more water. But so far, you know, it's not bad. It actually is really good. I don't really think I can. I don't think I would really recommend a lot of other grinders for how it's like you probably are getting 90% as good performance as your 50, maybe 95% as good performance or usability as your other $50 to $100 hand grinders. But and this is only $22, so it's kind of like really good value proposition. It's also light as hell. I mean, I'm just gonna start bringing this thing around. You just toss this guy anywhere, and if you lose it, it was only $22. You don't have to ever, you know, oh, you lose your Commandante or ZP6, right? You can buy 10 of these basically for a ZP6. The best grinder with unlimited budget, it depends on what you're trying to do, but it either is ZP6 for a filter or a Helor Flux with the Shurikens. At least in terms of pure performance. Usability is a little questionable on a lot of these grinders, but it depends on what you're going for. I just think those are the two strongest grinders, or like setups. Although, you know, you didn't hear about Shuriken Helor Flux from me. Actually, this one I'm gonna brew at a slightly lower temperature, 95 Celsius. This was roasted on Loring, I believe. It tastes like that at least, and it is actually really nice. I'm just going to try to brew the same way as I've been brewing, but I'm only going to push the coffee up to 1:16 ratio instead of 1:17. I don't feel the most comfortable pushing some of these coffees, at least maybe this coffee, to 1:17, at least on these burrs. I think on other burr sets, it would be completely fine. But it might be hard to see on this front camera, but I am getting very steady flow rate. This also is a pretty good, clean coffee. I think the Alitas this year, the Geshas were not as strong as I would have liked them to be. I did like Alita Natural a lot, the Gesha from Say. I was trying to buy the Verve anaerobic Alita, but I ended up picking up this Katsuai instead. And this actually was really nice. I mean, there's like clean acidity in here. It is a lot cleaner than you'd expect it to be, given that it's a natural. It also just smells like perfume. Let me see if you guys can remove this V60 over here so you can see things. But I feel like this is pretty representative of, at least this is what I do, is I'm just like gonna brew coffee on a brand new grinder and see what it tastes like. I don't really feel the need to extensively test some of these things. We're just doing this for fun. It's a coffee grinder. We are grinding a little fine still, so I'm actually going to adjust that for our next few brews. I think I'll go two. So it's 33 microns, so I'll probably go. I'm gonna go 2 clicks back. Is the ZP6 10x more enjoyment? I actually think so for some of these coffees. I think this flavor profile is pretty similar to Q2. I think Q2 and those heptagonals seem to have slightly more clarity, and this seems to be more sweetness forward. So that's how I would classify the... but it's like, they're very adjacent. This is not the searing. I don't think out of any of these grinders you're getting that searing clarity that you can actually get out of ZP6 or out of something like 64 SSPs or any of these other 98s, 80, 83, and so on and so forth. But I think this is giving you a good idea of acidity, and then it gets veiled into a lot of sweetness. That's what that very first brew tastes like. Yeah, sugar cones are expensive, but you asked me what was the most like unlimited budget. Yeah, I completely agree. Having external adjustment is like the greatest thing out of these grinders. I actually hate this so much. I'm a huge hater of internal adjustment. I think this shit is so annoying. It's like it's annoying to clean. I don't want to have to like take the whole grinder apart just to change my grind size. Just like put it at the top. Yeah, I literally would pay 10 times more just to have. I actually think this flavor profile would be fine as long as I actually think that is the K something. You can pay more money and get external adjustment. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. They all look the same. All these grinders look the same. You put photos next to each other, everything looks the same. All right. So we got the this Alita Natural Katuai from Verve. A very surprising to be bring Verve on at least a live stream. This is probably the only Verve I've brewed ever on a live stream. And that's because this coffee I thought was really strong. I've seasoned grinders with Verve on stream. I haven't brewed any. This coffee's smelling great. So let me see if it does the same thing. And then I'll go and answer some questions from the chat. It's getting better, but it's still that massive sweetness forward presentation. I think what I'm going to do is I am just going to grind an entire bag of something through this, and we're going to. This is decently acceptable. I think for people, a lot of people, they're just going to buy this grinder, open season. I think that's, like for what this grinder costs. You're probably looking at your very first coffee. Forward, easy to drink profile. Here is giving that acidity, a little bit of that acidity, but it is extremely veiled. But it's veiled in sweetness. So I think it's fine for $22. I think that's completely fine. Oh, is my mic lagging? What the hell? Yo, we got technical difficulties. Hold on. Or is it the internet? Let me change this microphone to this. Hold on. What about now? I changed the mic to the front camera. There's a shotgun mic pointing at me. Okay. What was I saying? I was saying this is I was saying for $20, I think most people who are buying this, you're probably not going to do crazy seasoning at the very beginning. You are also probably at the beginning of your coffee journey, or you're a noob, and you probably want to drink much more approachable flavor profiles. And generally, when I think about approachable flavor profiles, I'm thinking about like very super sweetness forward cups. This here, you are getting a little bit of that acidity, but it is very veiled. It's veiled in a ton of sweetness. And I think that's really enjoyable. I think that's what most people are going to want to look for. I think Q2 does something kind of similar to that, or a lot of those heptagonals do something very similar to that, but you'd have a peakier spike in terms of initial presentation of acidity. This here, probably because it's unseasoned, not really getting that as much of that, but I'm getting a very approachable and enjoyable cup, and enjoyability in my mind is sweetness. You actually could hand both of these cups to a majority of people and they'd probably be okay drinking it. And this is light roast. Scary. Oh, weird. This still works? Yeah, my top camera still works. I have no idea. Sometimes we get the technical difficulties. I mean, I recently have been streaming on Mac using my laptop. Usually I stream on Windows, and that's a little more reliable, it seems, at least with OBS and all of that. So hopefully we don't run into any more technical difficulties. But yeah, eventually I'll figure this out more. But everything runs through 2 USB-C cables. So we got the top USB-C. So this is where video and audio comes from. And then that also does both. So hopefully things are good now. What did I think about Proud Mary Mexico Cup of Excellence #1? So this was a really impressive coffee. I don't know if does this maintain the microphone? Cool. So this coffee was really fantastic in terms of, it's like Panama Gesha. I don't know. This is a very weird thing to say, but the 2 COE, well, I don't know if it's like the right thing or that's what these producers are going for, if that's what Cup of Excellence Mexico is supposed to taste for. I've never tasted Cup of Excellence Mexico until this month. I had Cup of Excellence #6 from Bean & Bean, Cup of Excellence #1 from Proud Mary, Mexico. Both of these coffees really reminded me of a lot of Panama Gesha, which is, or just, good wash Panama Gesha. Really citrus, florals. This one was insanely clean. We tasted it on the live stream the other day, so if you want to look at very closer flavors or what we thought, you can go there and look at that. But it was really, really clean. It wasn't baked. I know people are like, oh my god, is Proud Mary baking coffee? This was not baked. It was super clean for a natural, and also just had really nice acidity, florals, and aromas. A lot of the same reaction that you would get out of drinking a nice Panama Gesha was found in here. At the very end, you would taste a little bit of that, Mexican terroir or what a lot of Mexico coffees taste like. But the fact is like I've never tasted a Mexico coffee that was like this. Same reaction to Cup of Excellence #6. I did think Cup of Excellence #1 is a little stronger, but also that's why it's #1. So yeah, I thought this was great. Now the real question is, I don't know if this one's gonna be good. This is our triple anaerobic Ben Paz. But I do think COE #1 Mexico, fantastic coffee, and would really recommend you guys pick that coffee up. I'm going to now actually run some coffee through this, and we're gonna try seasoning this thing, and we'll go from there. I made it a few cooks coarser from before, but the yeah, like even when these are really cooled down, so I'm gonna drink this a little bit more of that Prodigal. Even when they're really cooled down, the acidity is really, really tamed. It is very, very veiled, but it is good enough, I think, for people entering. Right, it's like first time drinking a light roast, you probably don't want to be drinking battery acid. Yeah, COE Mexico is super impressive. Um, I think this grinder would be really good for if you want to just bring out sweetness in general. I mean, what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to probably run a bag or two through this. You guys are just gonna have to suffer with me while I season this thing, and then we'll brew some of these other lighter roast coffees. Maybe we'll brew some say. We'll brew some harder to brew coffees, in my opinion, just to basically see does anything change. But I also will say I think it's fine to have sweetness in some of these coffees that are brighter. It's like, everybody likes sweetness, right? Yeah, very clear flavor. I agree, Chris. Very clear flavors. It didn't have that really super rounded, almost like ultra tea like rounding that you would find in some of the natural Panama Geshas. But the fact that you were able to get a lot of that flavor clarity and floralness, I got a lot of jasmine as well. In this coffee was very impressive. I'm now gonna find some beans to throw through this guy. We have the seasoning setup. It's like I literally have beans everywhere, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings because they handed me this coffee and I never got around to drinking it, or I only sampled a little bit of it before it's like people are really nice in coffee. Whenever you meet up with them, everybody wants you to try their coffee. They give you the coffee. The problem is like, I think for a lot of industry people, you're getting handed so much coffee all the time that you absolutely cannot consume all this coffee, and then some of it just ends up going into kind of that seasoning bin. Not because it's bad, it's just because you have too much. But yeah, we'll try to season this grinder, I guess. I'm gonna run like a bag or two through it. I think that should really help clean things up a little for at least some of the aftertaste. And then while I do this, feel free to ask any questions, join the Discord or whatever, right? We're just hanging out today. I'm trying to do more of these chill streams. I don't really care too much about having the most organized live stream and whatnot. We're just here to hang. And the fact that there are all you guys here, I'm very grateful. It's just this seasoning is going to take a while. I should get an electric grinder that lets me do that. Also, I need to catch up on the stream chat and the Discord. We have Hello World shitposting in the Discord as usual. Great. MSG Beanstick. What the hell, dude? Anyway, this is gonna take a while, so bear with me. And I'm just gonna keep sipping on these coffees though, because they are tasting good. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just try to chill, man. A lot of coffee stuff is, for some reason, sometimes way too serious. And, I just want to have fun. And sometimes people like that, sometimes people don't like that. And who knows anymore. Oh, right. Oh, also, guys, look at this. If you don't RDT, look at what happens. I forgot to RDT. I'm so, holy shit. Look at this. I just threw beans in there and then I ground without RDT. This is miserable. I've never seen this being this bad on any grinder. This is like worse than EK. This looks okay. I'm gonna dump those beans out, or the grounds out. Okay, so if you don't RDT, the catch cup looks like this. I also am grinding on the coarser side as well, so we got all that shaft, but holy shit, look at this, guys. That is insane. That's exactly why... That's exactly why I said you must RDT. Dude, oh my god. Seasoning... Grinding this entire bag of coffee for seasoning is gonna take a year if I have to RDT, but... okay, let's push... Let's see how much is retained in here. Oh my god. I've never... This is crazy. At least the the brush is good. So here we go. This... It's like perfectly coated. I've never... Like, those grounds have structure to... Like, the static has... It's like a perfect ring. Not a bug, chaff removing feature. True. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do it this way. Oh my god. This is insane. That's hilarious. I'm trying to get it all out here. Wow. Okay, 0.7 grams. I mean, this is on the coarser side too, but it's not the worst in the world in terms of grounds getting stuck in between the burr gap there, but that is, yeah, that's, don't do that. I guess you have to RDT for everything. Let's just call it a gram. Wow. Oh, and then let's also see what else gets left in the catch cup, if we're curious. I'm gonna wipe this guy down. This probably looks like 0.1, 0.2 grams. I don't know if it will even register on the scale. Yeah, so this isn't that bad. Okay, yeah. So, I guess most of the static sticks the coffee to the burr. Then grind size adjustment. See, this is the problem. It's like now like even in between the grind size adjusting plate down here, like this plate down here, these clicks, right? And the actual little adjuster, this is where coffee grounds can get stuck in here. This is why external adjustment is king. $22. Okay, what do you expect? I was gonna say this is one of the highest retention that I've ever seen in a hand grinder, but also I have seen worse. I think the Pharos is a little worse. I guess, like, do we count it as retention if you cannot even get the coffee out from the grinder? Okay, so I'm actually going to RDT this. I'm just going to put it in here again. And we will try that again. That was that was hilarious. I've never seen that, at least out of a small hand grinder. I quite like this catch cup. This is good. This goes on easy. Oh, this is a big plus, as I'm noticing this. Some of you guys might not like this. I like this a lot. Only 2 threads here, or like the threading on this is very big, very easy to thread on, compared to something like, I guess even this Time More C3 Pro and some of the Easy Pressos. Like, I gotta turn a lot here, and they're those smaller threads. And do you see? Look, grounds are stuck in the threads there. And you know, you're turning a lot more on something like your, I think your Easy Presso stuff, versus this. It's just an easy screw on, and maybe that's because this is made of plastic, but I much prefer this over having the smaller threads where grounds can just get stuck in those threads. So that's a pretty big plus already. But yeah. Yeah, internal adjustment, pain. I might give up and only season 1 bag instead of 2 bags. I was like, oh, I'll season 2 bags of coffee. But if I have to keep RDTing every single time and I can only season about 25 grams, it's yeah, it's a little pain point. Little pain. The feed on this, pretty decent. The beans are just going in there. Very easy to grind. Still very easy to grind. I'm very surprised by how easy it is to grind. But I do, yeah, I actually, oh wow, look. Yeah, RDT and magic. So, okay, this is really great when you RDT. But not very good when you don't RDT. So make sure to RDT every time. Have I tried Espresso ZP6? I haven't. I have seen people... I actually don't own a ZP6. For anyone wondering, I don't own a ZP6. I just borrow ZP6s from people. The ZP6 is... I've seen people pull really fast turbos with it. If you grind at basically 0 and you updose, but I don't really think it. I don't really think it's the most appropriate thing. I just think it's another, because of those microns, the clicks. It's not really worth your time, it feels. But it also depends on coffee. I mean, I guess you might be able to get away with pulling espresso if you're using a more developed roast, but I probably wouldn't do that with a ZP6. That's just my thought right now. Okay. Yeah, not enough budget to make more threads. Big win for P0. True. I didn't RDT as aggressively for this one, and got a little bit of coffee there, but not the worst in the world. And it is just removing a lot of the chaff. So this is the, you know, if you're a big brain brewer, a lot of people have the technology, you know, the brewing technology. They go and it's like, oh, I'm only going to do this, so I remove like 1 gram of chaff or something, and then they get a cleaner cup. So there are all these different strategies nowadays, and you know, you don't have to always RDT for stuff. I guess it's, yeah, I don't know. I don't keep up anymore with like, I just think for me, chasing max performance in cup out of some of these grinders is not worth the amount of extra effort at times. I'm just like, just brew, and usually it tastes okay. Wouldn't it make sense to try an ARP coffee with it? Yeah, we can do that later after I grind coffee. I'm seasoning this painful P0. Yeah, so that's what I say. Exactly what Flying S'more was saying is like, you can do turbos with updosing, more developed roasts, but it's probably not going to taste the best. I've never had a Pietro before. I saw it in real life at Expo, but I never picked one up. But I think the Pietro is probably the strongest hand grinder today. I mean, the Pro Brewing Burrs. I hear a lot of great things about the Pro Brewing Burrs. It looks really good. The first thing that kind of turned me off on the Pietro was it didn't have a stand or something, and then they finally came out with one. So I think that really was a really good move, and I am considering getting one. Did anyone try the Turin H40? I haven't. I feel like today a lot of these hand grinders all are effectively very similar in the sub $100 category. I think I honestly think for filter brewing, the ZP6 is just a no-brainer. That's a S tier grinder. The ZP6 is so strong. This P0 though, under $30, under $50, I would consider this over a lot of other things because of how small and light it is. It's very easy to use. You can buy 2 of these and have them set at different grind settings versus one Time Mar C3 Pro. You know, it's like, it's just like, do you want external adjustment? Do you want better build? I honestly feel like performance-wise, everything is very adjacent, very similar. Oh, do you have, Sal, you got both the Pietro and ZP6? Do you have the brewing burrs in them? How do you think they compare to ZP6? Dude, I think this P0 is a very good option for a pepper grinder for under $50. Although you could consider, you know, if you wanted a metal-bodied one, you might consider Time War C3. I think that's under $50. It actually feels like the grinding on this is getting a little easier, or maybe I'm getting used to how much force to put on this, but. Yeah, the burrs are definitely getting more and more seasoned. We're getting some color on them. In before, this is a burr set that's like, do not RDT with this, you will destroy the grinder, and it is tragic. Does that matter? Like how unimodal your pepper is? Like the amount of surface area on a pepper shard, does that influence the flavor or how good your seasoning is on your steaks? Okay, cool. Pietro Pro Brew, good grinder, good burr set. We can put pepper in this later. I think I have some pepper around here, or like unground pepper for rubs and okay. So your pepper distribution does matter for those. So you can get the most unimodal seasoning possible for your steaks. Isn't there also like a pepper cannon? I don't know why people haven't made or salt cannon. You like grind it and you can like shoot a bunch of pepper everywhere. If my pepper has too much surface area, I just throw the dish at the waiter. Maybe they're grinding pepper with the Molin pepper grinder. If my pepper is not ground with 98 SSP brews, just throw it away. Throw the dish away. Eventually, I had this idea. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. Was gonna run some pepper through some 98 flats just to see. You can also do tea. You know, you can throw tea in a grinder. You can throw a lot of things in coffee grinders. Are we reviewing a pepper grinder? We are seasoning a Kingrinder P0. We did 2 brews with it. They were pretty good. But I wanted a little more optimal performance, so I'm just gonna season most of the bag, or at least this bag here. Seasoning these grinders does take a year because it's a tiny hand grinder and the burrs are small, and also this cat truck can only fit like 20 something grams, and you have to RDT. I'm so used to nowadays, like we seasoned the DF83V on stream, had an ionizer, made my life so easy. We just had to have a little rice thing, and we could season hella fast. But yeah, anybody who's actually still here or tuning in, we're just seasoning this thing. It feels like it has gotten easier to grind though. And looking at the grounds, maybe visually looking a little bit better. I'm getting my workout right now. If the restaurant does not have an EK43 for pepper, does it even deserve the 3 Michelin stars? True. All right, I think I'll do a 1 or 2 more batches, and then we'll keep on brewing. This doesn't feel like a bursa that requires a ton of seasoning, or doesn't seem that finicky. So let me shine a light through this again so you guys can see. I think the DF83V is a really great grinder. I don't know if you guys can see that. What does it even look like? Yeah, see, we're starting to get grounds, and, you know, it's starting to look like a seasoned coffee grinder. Wow. Who knew? If you run coffee through this, it would look better. Yeah, it looks fine. It was like, you know, it is a little messy because we've been grinding, and we do see some of the coffee bits getting stuck in there, but we'll wipe that all off. Yeah, not bad. I think the 83V is a great grinder for how expensive it is. I haven't used it much, to be honest, because I've just been using the 01, and I've been pulling a lot more espresso. And right now I have the brew burrs in the 83V, and the brew burrs I can only pull super fast turbos. Although I do think the flavor profile off of it is really good, doing ultra fast turbos on the 83V. Good grinder. It's a really great grinder. My only nitpick with this grinder right now is mine has coil whine, so I don't know if you guys can hear it, but if I turn the grinder on, if I just put power to the grinder, not turn the grinder on, I get coil whine. So we now have a graphics card behind me. I wonder whether people grind tea leaves with coffee beans. Probably. I've seen people do some shit, man. You know, you can make an entire 3 Michelin star meal with a decent espresso machine. So, who am I to judge? Okay, I think I've seasoned enough for now. Let's brew some more. Or let me throw the rest of these random beans that have been laying around into here. I do think seasoning has some amount of diminishing returns for some grinders, but also you're naturally going to season your grinder anyway as you use it. So, and most of the time if you're learning how the grinder tastes, it's like going to be probably 85-90% how it is already when it's not fully seasoned. But I think this is going to be my new travel grinder. I mean, this thing's so damn light. It's super nice. So I am trying to get the soup machine set up. The soup machine's in my garage right now, and I'm waiting. So I kind of missed out on it during the Christmas sale, but I'm trying to buy a Harbor Freight cart. So my idea is to have the Harbor Freight cart and then have, you guys can't see this behind here, motorized Pharos next to the soup machine, and then the guy who invented the soup, or he built the soup machine, he actually does coffee espresso machine servicing, and he comes down kind of to where I'm at, and he's gonna come and I think we're gonna set up a flow jet. We're gonna set up everything, and I'm gonna have try to get the cart set up with there. With the soup machine and the motorized Pharos, and I think it's going to be an amazing thing. But yeah, let me brew some more coffee now that we've done a little bit of seasoning through here. Totally didn't do that just to kill time on the stream. Need a little bit of water in this. All right, let's now brew more coffee. Okay, let's brew harder to brew coffee. I think this will be a good one. So we did our Say ranking stream the other day. This is Duancho Honey. It got knocked out of the bracket a little earlier than I expected it to be, but I thought this coffee was pretty good. We already brewed Prodigal, already brewed Verve. Some of the harder to brew stuff from those two roasters. Or we can brew... I also have this coffee. I have El Paraiso Lychee. Wait, El Paraiso Peach. God damn it. El Paraiso Peach. But I have a pretty good idea of what this coffee tastes like, so we'll brew this and then we'll see what is good, what is bad, what is missing versus something like an 01. Or just other higher clarity grinders. Again, all of the coffee we're brewing, it costs more than the actual coffee grinder itself. Which is fascinating when you think about it. You're like, oh my god, this coffee grinder is $22, maybe $20 on it's on sale. Just visited World of Coffee Dubai. It was lots of fun with roasters like Mahan, Sage were there though, but I guess our reach isn't up there yet. Well, the thing is going to there is a lot of it. It's not cheap, right? People need to run their roasteries. They need to kind of be around to run the business, and it's hard to do that when a lot of these companies, their teams are really, really small. I think that's still what surprises a lot of people is how small some of these roasteries actually are. Like, how many people do you think work at a Say or a Manhattan, right? Even, it's like, it's tiny. There probably is literally no budget to send some guy across the world just to go to an event to set up a booth. It's very expensive to do that. And also, it really depends on what these coffee shows are for. Some shows are consumer oriented. Some shows are B2B for industry people. So for some of these roasters and some of these companies, coffee companies, and so on and so forth, it doesn't make sense to go to the show because it's like it's not even the right audience, right? But anyway, so here I'm just gonna run my finger through here, and we can see. Not bad in terms of how much coffee is retained in here. I did wipe out some of it, but the crevices in here are not entirely destroyed yet. Yeah, Obadiah 7-8 people. That's actually a decent size, I feel. I mean, the thing is if you look at those coffees, if you go to a cafe that has Obadiah, for example, there's a cafe 2 hours away from me that has Obadiah. They serve Obadiah. You see the packaging. You see all of that. You look at that, and it does not feel. It really doesn't feel like that company only has 8 people. Same thing with an Ilsa. Same thing with the Say. Same thing with a lot of these roasters. You go there and you look at the packaging. You as a consumer, you perceive a lot more than. It's just like, wow, this seems like it's a huge corporation. Obadiah, I think, I don't know where they're from, but I think it was Germany. I could be wrong. I just saw it at Black Fox in New York. You're like, wow, this must be a really big business because they're able to get coffee across the entire world. But it's like, at the end of the day, these roasteries is like 5 to 10 people. At least some of the ones that you guys really like. Even at the largest in the industry, some of the bigger places, like an Intelligentsia, it's like maybe 1,000 with every single thing. Like a global brand having 1,000 people employed is, in my opinion, nothing compared to other industries. So I just think when people, I think I do observe this with enthusiasts, which is like, oh my god, I go to sometimes, you go to these events, you go to these things, you're like, oh, it was lame because, no roasters or no people I like were there. Well, it's because probably they literally did not have the capacity to go to the said event. So, yeah, at least that's kind of how I was before. And I was like, oh, you start to, as I learn more and more things about the industry, I'm like, wow, these companies are actually so tiny. Yeah. I mean, they might get their coffee at some of these events. There probably was a booth at World of Coffee Dubai that had one of these roasters. But for them to send a person, every single person in these roasteries has a pretty big role, or they're doing everything. That's just how close a lot of the owners are, or people who are very core to these teams are to their roasteries. And it's like, if that guy's not there roasting coffee, or if that guy's not there sourcing coffee or running the cafe, and he's out there doing, trade shows, it's like, does the business suffer, or is it good, right? It's like, it has to be they have to justify that in some sort of way. Although I do think a lot of these industry events like SCA Expo and all of that are really great social events, and you can go and get accounts and whatever if your goal is for B2B. But yeah, anyway, around 20 grams. of this Duancho honey. Losing things right now. Oh, where did I put my paper filters? Paper filters everywhere. Actually, I don't want to use that paper filter. I want to use my big boy O2 tabs. So it's kind of funny. So this is an 01 flat tabbed versus 01 flat tab versus 02 round tab. 01 flat tab stalls like crazy. The round tabs don't stall. And then apparently nowadays, even the inside, if you go buy a new one, the inside is like waxy versus not waxy, and I don't know anymore. Oh, you got the wash? I got the honey here. I'm brewing the honey right now. So I'm pretty familiar with this coffee, so we'll see how the I was gonna say K0 handles this. How the P0 handles this. If you guys have a chance, check out our bracket of Say coffees. I think I'm kind of Rumudama winning, it makes sense, but also I was like, I felt like Esmeralda was the stronger coffee, but we started to factor in price and all of that, and then it's like, yeah, fine, Rumudama can win. Barrio losing to Rumudama was also kind of sad. I thought Barrio was much more interesting than Rumudama, but, you know, you'll win some, you'll lose some. I think you might like the honey a lot if you liked the washed. I might just brew this the way I normally brew Say then, and let's just kind of see how this does. I have to like lean over and do this for the camera. So I'm also going a bit coarser here, and I'm gonna do this high agitation stuff and long bloom stuff to try to push up the acidity as far as possible. Oh, so you're in India? Yeah, I do need to try more Indian coffees. We're gonna bloom this for a minute. Also, hang out in the Discord if you want to talk some shit. Yeah, I haven't had Indian roasted coffee or coffee roasted in India and then shipped over here. I have had obviously Indian coffees, but that's roasted in the US or in Canada. So I'm gonna brew this up to 1 to 17. And we're gonna go for like the longer extraction stuff. I'm just doing it like this so you guys can see. So kind of the thought process with doing that is so you can shoot all those fines over there while we still maintain a pretty decent flow rate. So if you look here, aha, you can see it's still filling up normally. Sure. Want to reach out to me on the Discord or something? I will happily pay for whatever you are picking up. definitely down to try anything and really appreciate that offer. Yeah, I mean, if you're liking, say, if you can find a roaster that's similar to that, or whatever you would also drink, if you're also drinking coffees like the Duancho wash and all of that, pick up an extra bag, hit me up, I'll pick it up from you. Sick. Thanks, man. Just got here. Is it better than P100? Maybe. You can buy a lot of these. You can buy 100 of these for the price of P100. Oh, and then look. So this is around my general brew times for say around 3-ish minutes. It did flow down pretty nicely, and I think our bed of grounds is starting to look a little nicer nowadays. So that's cool. And then, here we go. Let's give this a taste. Watch this taste terrible. God, this coffee's great. I think we're still kind of cheating in terms of using really great coffees to like QC and test things, but whatever. I'm consuming coffees. I'm going to enjoy them if that's a choice. Do you grind relatively coarse or pour over? Not necessarily. I usually grind, I would say, on the finer side, because I like pushing coffees. I like pushing up that acidity and all of that. So grinding finer and using faster flowing paper filters like Cafec T90s, Sybaris, so on and so forth, it's been good. You can grind coarse and reach and use wet WDT to accomplish the same extraction yields, but I personally don't necessarily like the flavor profile of those. Like sometimes those brews are so clear that they kind of can taste a little boring. There's no like interesting dynamics to it, as much as I'd like, at least. I am a big fan of just grinding finer at times. But it depends on coffee, depends on my mood, depends on what brewer, so on and so forth. Alright, here's the Duancho Honey with a significantly more seasoned P0. AKA we ran a few hundred grams through it. Wow. This coffee is seriously carrying the story here. This is, let me see if I can pull up the flavor notes. I had the card here as well, but yeah, my one complaint with this coffee was it was a little more herbally than I wanted it to be. But that would come out when you would push the coffee more, but otherwise it had a really nice standard, like, I mean, actually it wasn't a very standard flavor profile. It had like yellow fruits, which was interesting from a Ethiopian. All right, let's taste this. So the finish of this has cleaned up a little, going coarser, a little coarser. Even though the bed looks pretty fine, but I think that's just how I pour. Still incredibly sweetness forward, even with that little bit more seasoning. So this flavor profile, I don't think is going to change even with more seasoning. It's still going to be this incredibly sweetness forward. There's a little bit of airiness too that I've been also experiencing in terms of texture. So like let me taste this again and try to articulate while I'm caffeinated. So even though I'm brewing in this way where I try to push up this acidity is still getting nerfed. It's getting like really rounded out right into a lot of sweetness. It does help that the coffees we've been brewing are also very sweet, but at the same time, for $22, this is still I think this is still one of the most enjoyable profiles. These super sweet profiles. I wouldn't really recommend this for anyone who wants ultra high clarity, but also I don't think people who want ultra high clarity are considering a $20 hand grinder. So that's my kind of thought right there. Even as this coffee cools, yes, you get more of that acidity up front, but it's really just kind of veiled. It's like veiled in the sweetness. It's like acidity, like right here, but then instantly covered over with sweetness. And the way this sweetness is presented is I think the profile of the burrs, because the last 3 brews we did all finish. I mean, it's not even finished. It's like right up front goes right into the sweetness, and then you're like experiencing this really nice rounded sweetness. But the fact is this is making this coffee quite enjoyable. Again, the last 3 coffees we brewed are hella light, pretty light. You give it to normal people. Why am I drinking battery acid? This here, yes, it's light, but a lot of the pain of light roast, the acidity is really glossed over, and I think that's interesting. I think that's fine for a lot of people who are for what this is. I mean, for how expensive this is. It's like I can get some of that acidity if I'm really holding the coffee on my tongue. But it really does not want to. It really does not want to have linger in terms of acidity. Like there's no structured acidity that's just lingering there. It's that presentation of acidity that then just goes right into sweetness. So I actually think this is very enjoyable. Like this because we're not really able to pull out some of those complexities and nuances of coffee. I actually think this is much more approachable for many people. And man, $20. That's a good start. This is a really strong starting point for $20. I also don't think a lot of people at $20, like if you're getting one of these grinders, you're probably not drinking these types of roasters anyway. But if you wanted to, you can brew some of these hard, like this is a hard coffee to brew in my opinion. And it is making that a lot more enjoyable, as in it is covering up some of those nuances. It's going to cover up some of those mistakes. It's going to cover up some of those bad things in the coffee, in your water, in your pouring brewing technique. You're tasting grinder. You're tasting burr profile. That's what I'm tasting here. And I think that's fine. I think it's really enjoyable. So that's $20, man. I actually think this is a really good grinder for $20. Now that I'm tasting this more and more. Now that this is really cooled down, let's give it another taste. Same thing. It's sweet. It's all of these brews have rendered the same way. I think in my brewing technique, you are getting a little bit of that brewing technique variation at the very beginning, but it's happening pretty fast, and then it's going into this really rounded sweetness. Like it's basically covering it all out. But I do think for how much this is a really great choice. So would highly recommend this for travel reasons, for memes, gifts. I don't know. I bought this for fun because it was on sale. I think I saw it on Amazon. It was like $19 or something. I don't remember. Oh, dude, there's an affiliate link in the description. You can pick one of these up. But yeah, this is actually really good, and the grinder is really cheap, so that's a big plus. It's light. It's easy to bring around. I didn't really feel the need to use this guy at all. I felt like, actually what's interesting about this is a bit textured. So this plastic is textured versus this. I mean, sorry, this is textured metal, but my hands can my fingers can kind of slip on this more than this plastic. So I didn't really feel the need to use any of those I didn't really feel the need to use this guy at all. At least my hands were able to grip this because it's slightly textured. So pretty easy to grip and use. Grinder is easy to grind, even with the like we ground the Prodigal finer earlier, and those are really light. That's a very light coffee, and it was easy to grind. The grinding does seem to have gotten a little easier. Obviously, I'm going like 2-3 clicks coarser, and now that it's getting seasoned, it seems to be a little easier to grind. Or maybe I've just gotten used to how hard you need to push the handle, but. P0 not bad for how much it is. I mean, this is probably going to be my go-to travel grinder now because it's just, you know, again, this thing's like what, 400 grams? Yeah, 320 grams is how heavy this grinder is. Yeah, I think it's hella good value. Even if the grinder produces a lot of fines, you can brew with cafe filters. You can. I'm okay with having fines in my brews. I mean, obviously, you look at this, because doing that swirl helps shoot out some of those fines to the side there. But also, I think, you know, if you get rid of all the fines, it kind of makes some of the texture and body of your brew not the most enjoyable at times. But it also depends on, you know, are you going for maximum clarity and flavor notes up front? Are you trying to minimize body? Depends on, and then also it's like how much effort do you really want to put? Right now, the way at least I brew coffee at home, like you guys have seen, is I just want to brew coffee and not, I do want to turn my brain off to an extent. I don't want to have to, I don't want grinders or brews to only be good if I put in an exponential amount of effort. That's why I like this. That's why I like O1. I like Flat Max and, you know, all these other grinders, is because I'm getting a very acceptable and good result without whipping out all of the techniques. Obviously, I think you can make most grinders taste really, really great. You can make a blade grinder taste really great if you're willing to sift and do paper towel technology and all of that. But is it worth it, right? It's like I think every single additional step and effort that I am doing, if I'm brewing for enjoyment, is killing my enjoyment. Like if I have to do 4 extra steps just to make the coffee taste good, then I don't think, you know, I'm not having fun at that point. And that, to me, gets rid of how good the grinder is or how good the brew can be. You know, you gotta mood dials at some point, right? How does it compare to a K6? I don't know. I don't have a K6. I don't have a lot of these hand grinders. That is so confusing. Why would you not make the P0 and K0 the same? The P0 is a K2, and then a P3 is a K6. The max capacity for this is around 25. I put 25, I put like 27 in here a little earlier, and it feels a little rough. And I think that's just because I was grinding a little coarser, but also, again, having the stupid grind size adjustment here, you lose some capacity for where you can put the coffee in. But I'm quite happy with how expensive this is, right? For like the value of this grinder is insanely good. K6 is probably a much better grinder for espresso because you actually have I mean, I'm gonna look at the chart here, the Kingrinder chart. I don't know what there's a chart here that tells you K6 can do 16 microns, so you have a little more adjustability in terms of granularity of what you can brew. The P0 grinder is a beginner grinder for pour over with a 38mm 5-burr design. I think because it's not heptagonal, it doesn't really have it doesn't really have the amount of clarity that I think many people who are like who have heptagonals are. Definitely, you can get that acid, that brighter acidity presentation into a lot of that nice chocolate, and I would classify as bigger body with a lot of those smaller hand grinders. But with this, the five spoke, it seems like it is much more sweetness forward. At least that's my experience today. Is like I'm using some of the brightest coffees. I'm brewing in a way that is trying to maximize the acidity and brightness, and it just gets glossed over, or like it just gets covered over with this big sweetness. So I actually think that's completely fine for who I think this grinder is for, and also for how expensive this is. This does not, if they're saying this is a grinder for beginners, I don't think beginners want to taste massive acid. I think people would want to have more enjoyability, and that would come in sweetness. So that's kind of my gist on the P0. I'm probably going to wrap up in a little, so if anyone has anything else, just feel free to drop that in the chat, and if not, you guys can, look, vote for me on Sprudge. I don't know if the bot works. Does exclamation Sprudge work? Let's see if exclamation Sprudge works. I don't think so. Dude, oh my god, it works. We got the stream bot, boys. So, yeah. Oh, and then also I have Discord. I think exclamation Discord works too. Yo, we got the stream bot technology. But yeah, we got the Discord in there. Feel free to come hang out. I'll probably make, more of the better roles on the Discord. We're gonna go hang out, people. It's just like a easy way for you guys to chat about stuff or get a hold of me. The Discord is mainly for people who hang out on the live streams. You can get other people in here, but like, I think people who show up to the live streams deserve the Discord. Instead of people like leaving comments and writing essays to me on Instagram asking about what to buy. Kind of cringe, I love my K6. I like it more than my C40. Overall, a lot better grinding experience and works well with my Timbonovo coffees. C40 is pretty good, but I feel my feel on C40 is it's a little outdated. That's why they came out C60, but apparently, I went to Expo, you asked the Commandante people, you're like, yo, what's the difference between the C40 and C60? And they're just like, the C60 grinds more efficient. So I actually think there is no flavor profile difference. I also just didn't feel like that was the greatest of interactions at a coffee industry expo, so, who knows? And then, so I'm not really surprised that Easy Presso and Kingrinder and all these people have caught up, if not do a better job than Commandante today. I also personally don't like what Commandante does with some of, their, it's like, look at this shit. Honestly, maybe they needed to do that so we could get cool stuff like this with the hand grinders. But yeah, it's like, I just think like litigation in coffee is a little goofy, is what I'll say. I understand why, but also it's just a little goofy. So I don't own a Commandante for a variety of reasons. But yeah. What do you think about the new Oreo lineup? I really like it. I did not buy it because I have too much stuff, but some of my friends locally have picked some up. So we're gonna get that V4 in. We're gonna get the Big Boy I like the Big Boy a lot. I also really like the new Sense glasses. I love the colors on the Sense glass. So that's pretty exciting to get an actual like pink glass. Pretty cool. But I have too much stuff, so I didn't really buy anything this round. I am kind of excited. So I think Varia has a new variable flow dripper that they're working with Karasu on. That looks cool. The asterisk stripper, obviously, hella good. And then, yeah, I like the big boy a lot. Hell yeah. See, if I win, that would be hilarious. The memes have ascended. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't know how they pick the winners. I don't even know if it's based on normal votes or whatever that is. But yeah, it was just really cool to actually be recognized in some sort of way, which to me is kind of funny. I'm just like, I'm just like, wow. I guess people have paid attention to some stuff. Is the neat whiskey glass still my favorite to drink from? I really enjoy the neat whiskey glass, but I've been kind of really enjoying these new Ecosa Brewhouse cups. They sent this a bit ago, and oh god, is my audio dead? Wait, no. Oh wait, no, my top camera, the feed died. The Ecosa Brewhouse ones are pretty cool because you can do the swirl and it adds in air and whatnot. So on espresso, it actually helps integrate the crema without you having to stir with a spoon. I do think the neat whiskey glasses though are fantastic. Did our audio explode? No. So I don't know what. Sometimes the audio goes from one of the. No, it should still be working. It's coming from the front camera. At least on my end, it looks fine. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of these Ecosa Brewhouse cups. I think they're really fun to use because you do this. Whoa, air gets into your coffee. So that's really cool. Is my audio actually bad? Oh, sick. Okay, audio's fine. Yeah, so I like these Ecosa Brewhouse ones. They make one for espresso as well. I think they're coming out soon. They're gonna be on Kickstarter. So I think they're a really strong cup, a new contender. Yeah, I mean, I think cups communicate a lot of value in coffee. So having a good cup does that. The whiskey glasses. The nice thing about the whiskey glasses is it's kind of like if you are drinking from a cupping spoon. So you can aerate right into there versus this, you kind of do pre-aeration in the sense of swirling. So it's like, do you want to aerate when you sip or do you want to have, I guess, all of that air with it already? I think these cups present clarity of notes, like transparency in terms of drinking something in very similar ways. I just think the Ecosa cups are really fun. You can swirl. But yeah, otherwise, like, damn, I've been on for a bit, so yeah, I'm gonna probably wow, it's been 2 hours. I didn't realize that. Time flies. Let's do a wrap up of P0. So P0, $20, pretty damn good. It's light as hell. You can bring it around with you everywhere, and it makes super sweet coffee. So I think if it's your first grinder, if you got friends who are entering the hobby, or you just want a very sweet cup and you collect hand grinders for fun, this is a pretty solid choice. This grinder costs less than a lot of bags of coffee, and I think this is a really good choice. I mean, man, $22, $20, you got discounts or whatever to be able to even brew some of these lighter roast coffees and make them, in my opinion, taste good. Like all the coffees I taste today don't taste under extracted in any sort of way. They're just really sweetness forward, and I think that's really enjoyable. So yeah, that's P0, guys. If anyone has any other questions or anything, just hop in the Discord. It's linked in the description. Also, you can get one of these through the Amazon affiliate link. Wow, I'm trying to actually make money off of YouTube at times. Yeah, this is available through that. But otherwise, I made a Discord because I want to try to get people in for the streams. I don't really care about trying to have like a very consistent schedule yet. I'm mainly doing the streams for the Discord. And then obviously this goes on the internet, and then people are like, oh my god, this video is so unorganized and whatever. But it's for the Discord, it's for you guys, it's for the people who are hanging out. So we definitely can request some topics and whatever we want to do. I also probably going to give away a lot of stuff to you guys who hang out in the Discord. I don't really, I don't need to like have super public giveaways or whatever. I just, for people who actually participate in the community, who hang out, support me, obviously, that's cool. I want to give back to you guys. I have some cool stuff coming out soon. So that'll be pretty exciting. But yeah, otherwise, like if you want to hang out more, or if you want to get notified on when we do these streams, hop in the Discord. That's kind of where I'm thinking about doing things. I have to finish setting up for those of you guys who are already in the Discord. I have to finish setting up some of the bots, the roles, and then you guys can have some of all of that. But yeah, I'm adding in all the new emotes, the stickers, and all of that. So yeah, it'll just be a way to hang out and whatnot. So yeah, all right. I'll hop off. I'll probably be on maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm trying to figure out like what are the best days for you guys and also for myself, because obviously I have work. But it seems like sometimes maybe on the weekends, or also like the last kind of in the middle of the week. It seems like people have nothing to do on like a Wednesday night or something. So maybe we'll do it that day. But yeah, all right, guys. I'll catch you later. Thanks everyone for spending the time hanging out today. Check out P0 and join the Discord. See you guys later.